There were moments in life when silence becomes louder than words, and when patience surpasses the power of anger. For Melody, a woman, a mother, and a personality admired for her resilience, those moments had stretched across 2 long, difficult years. During that time, she remained quiet, absorbing pain, watching false narratives spread, and protecting her children from a world that often seemed unfair. But yesterday, after 2 years of keeping her heart guarded, Melody finally decided to speak. And when she did, it wasn't just for herself. It was a message for every woman who has ever been underestimated, ignored, or told that silence equates to weakness. "I kept quiet for 2 years," she admitted, her voice steady, her eyes clear and unwavering. "But you mistake silence for weakness." These words, simple yet profoundly powerful, were not delivered out of fear or anger. They were words of truth, carrying with them the weight of experience, strength, and confidence. What Melody conveyed was clear. Being silent does not mean being powerless, and speaking the truth takes courage, discipline, and timing. Yesterday, Melody went live, carefully answering questions, addressing rumors, and revealing truths that many had been waiting to hear. She spoke to those on the internet who struggled to understand the nuances of her situation, emphasizing that this was no longer simply a matter of Martell or Arionne. This was about something far greater: honor, integrity, and the future of her children. She explained with blunt honesty that if it weren't for the drama that had erupted outside the courtroom, she would still have remained silent. But when boundaries were crossed, when lies targeted not only her but her loved ones, Melody knew it was time to reclaim her voice. She had been patient, but patience has its limits, and her decision to speak was deliberate, informed, and unwavering. For 2 years, Melody had avoided confrontation. She had not reached out to Martell or Arionne, had not commented on their posts, and had intentionally refrained from even mentioning their names. Yet, when both individuals began publicly attacking her on social media, spreading false narratives, and even directing negativity toward her mother and children, Melody could no longer stay silent. "I have been patient for 2 years, but if you think I will remain silent forever, you are mistaken," she declared. Her words came in response to a viral video showing Martell and Arionne outside the courtroom, where his language, behavior, and insults were captured for all to see. In that moment, Melody made it abundantly clear she would now respond, not with speculation or gossip, but with truth and evidence. This was a turning point, not just a story of personal grievance, but a battle for honor, truth, and self-respect. Melody emphasized that her decision to speak was not impulsive. Over the past 2 years, she had refrained from live streams, avoided posting online, and resisted responding to insults. But the stakes had changed. This was no longer a matter of private grievances. It was a question of the honor of her children and the sanctity of motherhood. "Now I will answer you one word at a time," she explained, showing the world that silence had a purpose, but when silence is met with lies, it must be broken. Her words were direct and unflinching. "I have never harmed you, but your hatred has blinded you. Your hatred has become greater than the love of your children. I am not going to save you now." She further substantiated her claims with text messages from Martell himself, apologizing for a punch he had previously denied. This revelation was not just dramatic, it was undeniable proof. In that moment, viewers realized that the question was no longer about what had happened, but about what would happen next. Melody had transformed from a silent observer to a force to be reckoned with, and her message resonated far beyond the immediate drama. What Melody represented went beyond her personal story. She became an emblem of dignity and courage for women everywhere, proof that patience and silence do not preclude strength and self-respect. She reminded the world that while a woman may endure in silence, her voice has power when she chooses to speak. I gave you a chance time and again, saved you, held your honor, but you made a mockery of that honor. Now there will be no friendship, no connection, no veil. She stated with unwavering conviction. These words ignited a storm across social media, as viewers recognized that the balance of power had shifted. For too long, deception, manipulation, and fear had dominated the narrative. Now truth and integrity were reclaiming the stage. The events outside the courtroom had left a lasting impression on Melody. She recalled seeing Martell wearing a mask of confidence and claiming to be fighting for the children, while his eyes betrayed anger, stubbornness, and fear of defeat. Arionne Carey's presence by his side, rather than offering support, seemed to stand as a silent opposition to Melody. The courtroom scenes were not merely legal proceedings. They were a battleground of ego, pride, and power. For years, Melody had endured mockery and manipulation, often choosing silence to avoid escalation. But the time for silence had passed. She now vowed to expose the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be for those involved. Everything will come out, no matter how much it hurts someone, she declared, signaling that deception would no longer hide in the shadows. Her live stream resonated deeply, particularly with her message about the role of women and the dynamics of honor. She explained that Martell had attempted to cover his mistakes by criticizing her, framing her actions through the lens of traditional gender expectations. Melody countered this narrative with clarity. By pointing fingers at a woman's honor, you hide your weakness, not show your strength. This line struck a chord, leaving listeners both awed and inspired. Social media erupted with clips, posts, and reactions supporting Melody's stance. Dozens of viral clips reflected the growing awareness that this was no longer a simple dispute. It was a story of empowerment, resilience, and the triumph of truth. Some proclaimed that it was Melody's era, a time when a woman was transforming her silent suffering into a powerful narrative of justice and dignity. Yet the story was far from over. Melody didn't just expose Martell, she also addressed Arionne Carey, pointing out that actions that break homes and trust never lead to peace. Some people think they will find happiness by breaking someone else's home, but remember, there is no peace in a house built on tears, she said. These words resonated widely, drawing support from thousands of viewers who identified with her struggles. Melody's revelations also touched on the sacrifices she had made for her family, how she tried to save a relationship, how she protected her children, and how she endured pain silently for their sake. I tried everything I could to save that relationship. I sacrificed my family, my children, even myself. But when someone has no respect, silence becomes a crime, she explained, her voice carrying the weight of experience and heartbreak. The truth Melody revealed was not abstract, it was deeply personal. She spoke of the betrayal she had witnessed, the infidelity she had endured, and the challenges of maintaining dignity in the face of lies. When Martell kept the children away and manipulated situations in court, Melody confronted the reality that motherhood sometimes requires hard choices and unwavering strength. She had to teach her daughters that integrity, self-respect, and courage matter more than comfort, convenience, or avoiding conflict. My children saw everything, heard everything, but I taught them that we are not recognized by the behavior of others, but by our character. This was not just a lesson for her children, but a call to women everywhere. Strength is forged in the fire of adversity, and self-respect is worth the struggle. Melody's words had a ripple effect far beyond her immediate circle. Thousands of women shared their own stories, inspired by her courage and honesty. Her live streams and posts became more than personal narratives. They became lessons in resilience, self-worth, and empowerment. People no longer spoke of her as merely a victim of circumstance. She was a warrior who had risen from the ruins of betrayal, guiding others through her example. At the end of her live, she summarized her journey succinctly. I forgave myself because I know now that my story is not over. It's just a new beginning. those words sparked a movement. The hashtag Melody Rising began trending, symbolizing hope, resilience, and the power of a woman reclaiming her voice. It was a testament to the fact that when women rise from silence, the world cannot ignore them. Meanwhile, Martell and Arionne attempted to respond, but their words fell flat against Melody's authenticity. Martell's attempts to present himself as a concerned father were scrutinized and questioned, while Arionne's claims of innocence were seen as inadequate by a public that had witnessed the full scope of events. Melody, however, did not rush to respond to these attempts. She chose silence where it mattered, responding only when necessary, and letting her actions and her voice speak louder than words. Her restraint, combined with her honesty and evidence, elevated her story from a personal conflict to a lesson in integrity and empowerment. Melody's journey also marked a new chapter in her personal and professional life. She launched a new business, Rise Renew, a brand that symbolized renewal, resilience, and the transformation of adversity into purpose. This was more than a business. It was a declaration that even after pain and betrayal, it is possible to rebuild, rise, and thrive. Her story became a source of inspiration, demonstrating that dignity, perseverance, and truth are powerful tools for reclaiming one's life. Through her journey, she showed that a woman's voice, once silenced, can grow into a movement that influences countless others. In the aftermath of her live and public statements, Melody became more than a woman defending herself. She became a symbol of courage, of truth, and of the power of silence transformed into speech. Her story reminded the world that integrity, patience, and strength are not passive traits. They are active forces that shape lives, inspire others, and demand recognition. Melody's rise is proof that truth, courage, and resilience cannot be ignored. Her words, her actions, and her unwavering commitment to honor have inspired women across the world to reclaim their own voices and fight for dignity no matter the odds. As social media continues to buzz and the story evolves, one thing remains certain: Melody's voice has not only spoken her truth, it has sparked a movement, showing that when a woman rises, the world watches, listens, and inevitably learns. If you were inspired by Melody's journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with the next chapter. Share your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think will take the next step in this story? Arionne or Melody? Remember, this isn't just their story, it's the story of every woman standing up for truth, dignity, and respect.